Harper's Bazaar is it's the other Vogue in America, really. And it's got a great long history. It's a very, very chic magazine. I think she might end up on the cover of Vogue at some point after seeing her at that Balenciaga show greeting Anna Wintour. I think that's going to be on the cards, because I think for the magazines, she is just such a talking point. Love her, hate her, we're all talking about this shoot. And I do think that this shoot is completely fascinating. And I particularly think this cover image is super fascinating. So I think it looks like, from the behind the scenes stuff, that she looked like she was having quite a nice time. You get pampered. Vogue and Bazaar really do it well. They make that person feel like a superstar for that day. It's like a fairy tale. It's like Cinderella. But what I think is really interesting is that she's wearing Dior on the cover, right, and she's wearing the bar jacket, BAR.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. Settle in, grab your tea, grab your snacks, and brace yourselves, because the meltdown we're about to unpack is so dramatic, so spectacular, and so unintentionally funny that I genuinely had to pause and take a deep breath before recording this. Because today we're diving into what happened when Plum Sykes, yes, Plum Sykes, the sister of Tom Sykes, one of the royalist media's most persistent Meghan attackers, dared to speak positively about Meghan Sussex's Harper's Bazaar cover. And not just positively in a mild, oh, it's nice kind of way. Oh no. She praised Meghan with her chest. She praised the fashion, the shoot, the Dior, the whole atmosphere. And she did this on her brother's platform. And honey, the derangers completely short-circuited. They imploded. They had a synchronized meltdown that belongs in a museum because it was that iconic. So let me walk you through exactly what Plum Sykes said. Because when you hear the full thing, you'll understand why the derangers reacted like vampires discovering daylight. Plum begins by laying out exactly what Harper's Bazaar represents. She says Bazaar is basically the other Vogue of America. Prestigious, iconic, with a long history. And yes, a bit smaller than Vogue in terms of reach, but still a top-tier fashion Bible with serious influence. And she emphasizes that it's classy as Vogue. Already the derangers were twitching because hearing someone describe a space Meghan occupies as classy is practically a threat to their ecosystem of delusion. Then Plum starts digging deeper. She says it's interesting that Meghan chose to be on the cover of Bazaar and wonders whether there was a Vogue option. And listen, the way she said it? It was giving. If Vogue was offered, she could have taken it. She might have turned it down. And if Vogue wasn't offered, well, Plum casually suggests it will be one day, because Meghan at that Balenciaga show greeting Anna Wintour? Yeah, that was a moment. A fashion moment. A let's put her on the cover kind of moment. And she says point blank. She thinks a Vogue cover is coming. That for magazines, Meghan is such a talking point. Love her or hate her, everybody is talking about this shoot. That alone burned the derangers to ashes. Because the whole foundation of their existence is the belief that Meghan is irrelevant. Yet here's a respected fashion insider saying Meghan is such a conversation starter that magazines practically salivate over her. Plum didn't stop there. She said the shoot was fascinating. She said Meghan looked fabulous. She said Meghan looked like she was enjoying herself behind the scenes, surrounded by stylists, makeup artists, manicurists, hair people, photographers, assistants, the whole superstar treatment. And Plum said it plainly. Vogue and Bazaar know how to treat their cover stars, and Meghan was pampered, spoiled, and made to feel like a superstar. A modern-day Cinderella moment, she called it. And then she dropped the bomb. She points out Meghan is wearing the iconic Dior bar jacket, a piece with deep fashion history, tracing back to Christian Dior's post-war new look. She described the styling with actual knowledge, actual admiration, actual appreciation. Not envy, not bitterness, not fake critique disguised as analysis. Just honest acknowledgement of how stunning, thoughtful, and historically rooted the shoot was. At this point, derangers were hanging onto sanity by a thread thinner than fishing line. But then, Plum said, Meghan is one of the most photographed women in the world right now, even more than Princess Diana at her peak. And listen, I felt that line shake the earth. Because if there's one thing derangers cannot handle, it's Meghan being globally iconic on her own terms. And the accuracy stung, because Meghan is indeed one of the most photographed, most discussed, most watched women alive today. Every appearance sells out. Every photo trends. Every outfit gets written about. So now imagine the state of the derangers hearing all this on Tom Sykes' own Substack. Tom, who has made a career out of nitpicking Meghan. Tom, whose audience is built on negativity. Tom, whose comment section lives on delusion and projections. And suddenly, here's his sister speaking truth like a portal to reality just opened. You already know what happened next. Emotional carnage. The comments were a full-blown meltdown buffet. The first one cried, "Tom, why are you doing this? We support your channel and you insult us with this interview." The entitlement jumped out. The reality is these people don't want journalism, dialogue, nuance, or truth. They want a hate bubble, a safe space where they can project their misery. The second commenter threatens him with losing viewers. They always say this, "You'll lose followers." And yet every time they threaten a boycott, the numbers go up. They said they'd boycott Netflix, and Harry and Meghan became the biggest docu-launch in the platform's history. They said they'd boycott Spotify, and Meghan's podcast hit #1 in multiple countries. They said they'd boycott everything Meghan touches, yet everything she touches sells out. Their boycotts work in reverse. Then there's commenter number 3 calling Plum a massive Markle fan, as if being a fan of someone simply for looking nice and being professionally successful is some kind of crime. And then they hit us with, "Meghan looks blank." Sweetheart, let's talk. Walls look blank. Screens look blank. Meghan looks expensive, moisturized, intelligently styled, camera-ready, and unbothered. She doesn't look blank. She looks like Dior. She looks like soft luxury. She looks like success. The next commenter couldn't take it and just wrote, "Blah, blah, blah." Translation: My brain cannot process opinions that don't match my fantasy. And the final one declared they'd never buy Harper's Bazaar again. As if Bazaar was sitting there crying, wiping tears with signed copies of Meghan's sold-out issue. They didn't even know Bazaar existed until Meghan touched it. And now they're claiming their imaginary subscription is over. These are the same people who've previously boycotted Netflix, Spotify, Amazon, Dior, Spotify again, Balenciaga, Vogue, Archewell, the BBC, and probably Oxygen because Meghan also breathes. They're running out of things to boycott. Pretty soon they'll be hiding under a table whispering, "Don't look at Meghan, don't think about Meghan, don't acknowledge Meghan," while she continues to dominate headlines, fashion weeks, and global culture. And the real reason they're furious? Because Plum's comments expose something they've been desperately trying to deny. Meghan's influence is real, powerful, and untouchable. The fashion industry loves her. The public is fascinated by her. The press, no matter how hard they try to spin negativity, cannot overshadow her presence. And the more Meghan thrives, the more obvious it becomes that the leftovers are struggling to compete. While Meghan is shutting down Balenciaga shows and appearing in Harper's Bazaar like the superstar she is, certain other royals are being praised for things like wearing a coat and standing silently at an event. The contrast is loud, and it burns. The funniest part is that even Tom Sykes allowed this interview. He didn't edit it. He didn't bury it. He didn't frame it with negativity. He just let Plum talk. And I think even he knows. Meghan's Harper's Bazaar moment was too big, too global, and too widely admired to spin. The comment section can implode, but the fashion world has spoken. You don't have to like Meghan personally. You don't have to enjoy her existence. But you cannot deny her impact. The cover sold out. The photos circulated everywhere. The conversation dominated headlines. And now Plum Sykes herself is predicting a Vogue cover. And trust me, that is not random. That is someone with fashion ties recognizing a momentum that cannot be stopped. Because let's be real, Meghan is exactly the type of woman Vogue loves. intelligent, stylish, influential, conversation-shifting, high impact. And Anna Wintour knows what a Meghan Vogue cover would do. It would break the internet. It would sell out. It would redefine the cultural moment. And the derangers? They know it too. That's why they're panicking early. Plum Sykes simply stated the truth. Meghan is iconic, globally photographed, coveted by major publications, and thriving. And the more people in fashion speak openly about Meghan's star power, the more derangers lose their grip on the fantasy world they've built. They tried everything: racism, bullying, smear campaigns, character assassination, and Meghan still rises. She left the monarchy and became even more powerful. She moved to California and built a life full of freedom, creativity, business, and joy. She raises 2 beautiful children, supports her husband, launches projects, attends events where she's celebrated, and continues being one of the most talked about women of our generation. Meanwhile, the derangers are stuck in comment sections throwing tantrums because someone dared to say something nice about her. At this point, it's not even anger. It's jealousy with Wi-Fi. They don't hate Meghan because she failed. They hate her because she succeeded anyway. Because she is everything they said she couldn't be. Because she walked away from the monarchy and still became a global force. Because she is doing things their favorites could only dream of doing. And deep down, they know it. So let them keep boycotting everything under the sun. Let them scream into the void. Let them threaten to unsubscribe from magazines they've never read. Because while they're spiraling online, Meghan is out there meeting Anna Wintour, shutting down Fashion Week, selling out covers, and preparing for whatever iconic moment comes next. And trust me, the Vogue cover is coming. And when it does, the meltdown will be biblical.
Hello everyone, I bet that is the best video you have ever watched on this topic. Thank you for liking this video, commenting down below, and sharing it as well. To all our subscribers, we say a big thank you for your continued support. I will see you in the next one. My name is Given.